I'm in alignment, and here this is the place where actually we're going to explore, and we have been exploring for a couple of times this year, the AI economy, the transitions that is going on into what I call AI economy, or we could call it AI-based economy. We are at this point in the internet-based economy because all the communications happening, or the main tool that we're using mostly is internet. Yeah, there's some exceptions, but it is what it is. But we're going into AI-based economy. Now, how it's going to look like, what it's going to be, and I've been talking about this in the past couple of streams, that if internet, when it came, the commercial internet obviously, it basically automated the coordination of information. Google said, we're organizing the world's information. Well, yeah, it's about information. It's about the distribution of information. It's about automating practically the coordination of information. Now, what's interesting with AI is that we're no longer talking about automating information itself. It's information that's widely available, actually. It's too available. Actually, we're overloaded with information. What it's going to do is that it's going to automate the coordination of decisions. Or we could say also it's going to organize judgment. And I know that for some of you it's kind of difficult to understand. It was difficult to understand for me also. It took me a couple of weeks, or even more than that, to kind of grasp it and to really understand what it's all about and what actually the future will look like, where we'll be able not only to automate the coordination of information, which we are right now. Right now we are submerged by kind of information that is kind of relevant for us on some level, and it's done through web platforms. It's done through the fact that we could easily distribute by email, by text messages, information here, right and left. Yeah, I mean, the internet is done an amazing job at automating the coordination of information, but we still have to take decisions on that information. We still have to act on it, right? And this is where our cognitive system and our mind is kind of overloaded. Our brain is overloaded. And that's where AI comes. And it's going to organize judgment. It's going to automate. It's not going to take decisions for us. I will say that's the main mistakes that everyone is making. Is they're saying, it's going to replace people because AI will take judgment in decisions on people's behalf, which is completely false. AI will not gonna do that. It's just, from a system point of view, you have to understand that even if machines communicate between each other, it's gonna just be an automated system. The economy itself, on a very fundamental level, it's an exchange between people, not between machines. If it's an exchange between machines, as is the case for the internet, nobody is controlling manually the internet. Servers communicate with each other in an automatic way. So we have some level of automation. That said, the economy itself, it's an exchange of goods and services between people. People communicate with each other, and people take decisions based on their needs and based on what they prefer to take the decision at a certain time. So yeah, it's between people. It's not, anytime you automate a system, the economy is just using that system. But at a very fundamental level is the people that actually take decisions and make judgment based on the information that they have, actually. and very very and unfortunately they have very little information. Even with, I mean, you could have the whole information in the world, but how could you distinguish what's you have to digest right now everything manually. This is where AI comes, and this is where AI will gonna automate all the processes, all that that load, where you have to take information, digest it, and then take the best decisions for you or for your company or for your business or whatever it is. It doesn't really matter. That's where AI comes. And I see a lot of people that say that it's going to replace people. It's not going to replace people. AI not going to replace people. It's going to augment people. And that's the real difference. It's going to augment people in a way we haven't seen before. Now, in the previous streams, I've been talking about, what will happen when, because AI is limited by the computational power, in the same way that in the 1990s, internet was limited by the speed of the internet itself, the speed of data exchange. And then the high-speed internet came, and we saw basically that all of those amazing things that internet can provide, all those platforms, social media, exchange of content, data interactivity, all of that came with the fact that internet became faster. Now we'll see the same thing with the computation, with AI. Once we have a much more powerful processing units that we call chips, we'll see all those amazing capabilities that AI could offer us will be available. It's not yet it's not yet the fact at this time, but it's going to be available once technology will be more and more powerful, and more especially the microchips will be much more powerful than they are right now. Despite everything, and that's why, I mean, AI is kind of expensive. It draws a lot of energy, takes a lot of energy. All of that because of the microchips are just not powerful enough. We are at the very early stage. That's one. And second thing, we need to learn how to use AI, obviously. We're not using it in the way it's supposed to be used. A lot of it because there's still a lot of friction because of the technology is not advanced enough. Again, the speed of computational. And AI it just started to be what we call context aware. This means when you have a chat with AI and you finish your chat, you don't have to re-prompt again and give it again the same instructions so that AI will accumulate data more and more. It will know who you are. It will have enough data about you, so you won't need to each time input instructions. Actually, AI will take care of the inputting instructions by itself, by just observing you, but listening to you, by kind of ingesting all the data that it could have. It could be able to ingest from you, from your behavior, from what you're doing, for what it sees, for how you speak, what you do, what you're not doing, all of those things. And so it's going to act in background as a copilot and act as a copilot, which is not the case right now. People are not using AI as a copilot at this point because it's simply not practical enough yet. I mean, there's a practicalities to AI that needs to be overcome, and some frictions that needs to be removed for it to be a real copilot in the background that you could just speak to or even not speak to, and it will help you to do all kinds of things. And also it will give you an awareness on the world, on your reality, on yourself and your reality that you haven't been able to have before. And that's really powerful. That's where all the psychology of AI will change. But this is something that I've been talking about in the previous streams. This time, I wanted to go back to what I've been saying about the fact that AI, well, not AI, but the internet automated the coordination of information. Even Google said we organize world information. Yeah, well, that's the internet. That's the internet itself, which gives us a lot of things, kind of access to a lot of information, and easy to exchange information between each other. That's the power of internet. Now, when it comes to AI, that's where it's going to automate the coordinations of decisions. And last time, I gave as an example the healthcare sector. What is going, because it's kind of easy to understand what's, the healthcare system. We all experience healthcare. We all went to the hospitals, clinics. We all know what it is. And it is easy to explain. Now, this time, I want us to focus on something that also affects us, but probably it's a little bit more difficult to understand, is the financial sector. So let's just illustrate the whole thing. I will just put myself aside here. There we go. Okay, so the financial sector. Now, let's imagine, let's imagine we are in the 1980s. That's before internet. And I know some of you will say, yeah, internet existed. Yes, it just wasn't practical. The commercial internet started in the 1990s. But let's go back to the 1980s, okay? We have Daniel, and he wanted basically to put things into perspective. Daniel wants to take a loan, basically financing his business. So Daniel stands in front of the bank before opening hours. The building is solid stone, intimidating. Well, I mean, the 1980s basically. He kind of adjusts his jacket, and he hasn't slept well actually, because he had to prepare for an important meeting at the bank. Now, inside his briefcase are paper financial statements he printed late last night. He checked them 3 times, not because they're kind of perfect, but just because once he hands them over, he won't be able to explain them again. Basically, he has to memorize everything. So whatever impression they make will kind of stick. It's very relational in the 1980s. That's before internet, obviously. Now, when he finally sights across from the bank manager, the room feels quiet in a heavy way. Just imagine that. Now, the manager flips through Daniel's files slowly, like too slowly. Daniel watches his face for reactions. A raised eyebrow, a pause. Now, every gesture feels like a verdict is forming. And then, the manager asks questions, one by one. Why this expansion now of your business? What happens if demand drops? Why should we trust these projections? Now, Daniel answered carefully, trying to sound confident while hiding doubt. He obviously knows the number, but he also knows the numbers don't show everything. Now, the manager doesn't have access to real-time data. We're talking about the 80s. We don't have internet. We have only, folders, like paper folders, like in paper. He doesn't see industry-wide patterns. He doesn't know how similar businesses fared in other regions. So he leans on something else, his own basically judgment. And the judgment is kind of heavy. Daniel leaves the office with no answers, just we'll get back to you, basically. Walking back to his car, he feels small, not because he failed, but because the entire process felt, opaque, and it is opaque. And not only for Daniel, but for the manager itself. The decision will be made somewhere, but someone based on, fragments of information, and probably based on Daniel's confident or whatever he looks credible or something else. And Daniel will live with will basically live with the consequences, whether he will obtain the loan or the financing or not at all. Now that's the 1980s. Now let's go to today, the internet era, the finance in the internet era. Now let's take the same Daniel. That actually what he does today, he applies for financing online on the financial institution website. He doesn't walk into a building anymore. He sits at his kitchen table, laptop open, coffee growing, like whatever he's doing at his office. The application form is long, quite long, I would say. He uploads bank statements, tax returns, forecasts. Each upload gives him a sense of progress, obviously, and distance. Now, somewhere an analyst will review this. He doesn't know who, he doesn't know when. Days later, a notification appears. Your application is under review. Behind the scenes, a financial analyst named Sarah opens Daniel's file. Her screen fills with data. Credit scores, transaction history, ratios, risk flags, compliance indicators, projections or possible projections of the numbers that she has on the screen. She clicks between dashboards, documents, internal policies. Everything is available, but nothing is synthesized. Sarah feels the pressure. If she approves a risky loan, it's on her. It's her responsibility. If she rejects a viable business, it's also on her because she wasn't being able to sell, one of the bank products, which is, loans are also products. So she tries to mentally connect the dots. What does this cash flow really means? How sensitive is this business to interest rates? How does this fit the bank's broader exposure? Daniel's wait, Sarah works late. Now both feels tired in different way, actually. The internet made faster but also heavier because you just have a lot of data and you have to make your judgment by yourself. The burden of judgment didn't disappear, as you can see. It actually multiplies. Now, that's the internet era. Now, let's go forward. Let's project us to the future. So now we are, let's say, in 2035. Well, it could be 2036. It's just the numbers prettier, 2035. Finance in the AI era. Now, in this case, we're gonna take the same Daniel because it's just easy to understand. Daniel applies for financing again. He needs a loan for his business. This time the experience feels different from the first interaction. He speaks instead of typing. He explains his situation naturally. What's he's building, what's worries him actually, what he hopes for. Now, the system listen, and by the system I mean the AI, not passively but very actively. Before any human reviews the case, the AI has already worked. It hasn't made a decision yet. It has organized the decision space, this block of judgment and decisions. When Daniel meets his financial advisor, there's no interrogation. The advisor sees a clear landscape, multiple loan structures, projected outcomes under different scenarios, timing sensitive risks, system-wide exposure implications. Basically, it projects all the scenarios that could happen and the probabilities of they to happen. Now, the conversation changes. They don't argue about numbers. They talk about trade-offs. Now, Daniel feels respected. Obviously, the advisor feels supported. No one pretends certainty, but uncertainty is now structured, not chaotic. The decisions still belongs to humans, but it's no longer made in isolation. Daniel lives knowing why a choice was made and what it implies. Not because AI decided for him, but because AI removed this kind of blindness. It, what AI does, it makes, decisions obvious based on certain realities. And it's clear for somebody who wanted to take a loan, it's clear why, he received the loan, he will be able to receive the loan or not, and if he will be able to receive the loan with a higher interest or lower interest, why it's also the case. So it's helpful for the advisor, but it's clear what should, in this case, Daniel improved on his business side to get the loan, or maybe there's other possibilities that he could find that doesn't require the loan itself, maybe other financial products. And this is why it goes highly interesting, because the internet help us access information, but AI itself helps us navigate decisions. And that's where, when it comes to any type of work, any type of industry or sector, this is the most powerful aspect of AI. It's about this navigation of decisions, this digestion of so much data that we could have a clearer judgment of what we should do, what we should not do. So, some people say, well, it will erase critical thinking. Well, I don't think so. I mean, it will just make things clearer. I mean, we still have to take decisions. We still have to be critical. It's just that we have a much broader awareness of what the hell we're doing actually. Doesn't matter. Here is the financial industry, but I mean, it could be anything. It could be any kind of sector. So that's kind of the one of the things that I wanted to talk about this evening. Is how it's going to automate the decision making when it comes to using AI. So this story isn't a story about, as you can see, AI replacing people. And I'm not saying that there will be no jobs that will going to disappear. I mean, jobs are appear and disappear depending on the people's needs. Basically, it goes beyond the technology itself. Here's the story about where decisions actually happen and how they will happen when we have this highly powerful tool and technology, and actually we could say an infrastructure that we call AI. And that's really interesting. And just that's kind of the facet, and this is kind of the basic concept and basic idea and the base from which AI will become highly powerful. Because, you know, on one of the streams, I remember, I just gonna put myself in the center right now, right here. In one of my streams, I said that, I said that what will happen with the whole entertainment space when AI is going to be more and more powerful because of the computational power will increase. Now, in the following streams, we're gonna take a look at what really is happening, because a lot of people, and I see a lot of comments here and there about about people worrying about their jobs. Am I going to be replaced? When I'm going to be replaced? How I'm going to be replaced? And what I see is that AI doesn't really replace jobs. It doesn't really replace people. It replaces specific tasks that are highly repetitive. But in this idea, or this in this pursuit of automating some of the things that we thought needs to be automated, we kind of understand that actually AI, it's an augmentation tool, and it displaces some of the jobs, but it doesn't really eliminate the jobs themselves. I mean, even in the industry like the development, software development. I mean, a lot of people saying that developers are being replaced. But what I see, it's not really the case. It's not the developers that are being replaced. It's that specific tasks that are related solely to manually coding and manually programming a software are no longer needed. That doesn't mean that there's no longer developers. There's a lot of developers. It's just that you probably don't need 10 developers. You only need 2 developers. But those 2 developers actually also, besides only coding, they also need to have some what we call soft skills. In other words, interpersonal skills to talk to probably some clients or some managers, or to understand the client's needs, or having some skills into software architecture, or even business or functional analysis. It's just that the profession or the people or the jobs are kind of evolving, and people need to adapt to that. And so what the at this point, even today, the one that suffers the most are the one that decided, I'm only technical and I love coding. I love to be in my corner somebody. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to learn any new things. I just wanted to code because I love coding. Well, actually, I'm sorry to hear that, but that's AI could generate some code. Yes, a software is much more complicated than that. You have security aspects to it. You have the architecture. You have the understanding of the client need. You have the user experience. You have a bunch of things that compose an app. Even if it looks simple, a software is highly complicated system by itself. That said, you know, professions are always going to evolve, and with AI, they are also evolving. And so I don't see the elimination of jobs. Actually, I see that there's new sectors of economy that will completely appear, and will create even new industries that we haven't even thought about yet. And this is kind of the next live streams that I'm going to talk upon. Obviously, we're going to decorticate this concept and this model of AI automates the coordination of decisions, because it's the basis of almost what will happen in any industries when AI going to take over, and it's going to be part of our everyday lives, which is not the case yet. I know there's a lot of hype, the fact that a lot of people are using AI. In reality, very few people use AI. And I know a lot of you will be shocked. Well, I mean, all my friends have ChatGPT on their phone, or they're using ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever it is, or Copilot from Microsoft. Yes, but do they using it in the way it's supposed to be used as a Copilot? I'm sure that's not the case. And that's why I'm saying we're at the very early stages of AI adoption. Very early stages. Maybe in the early 1990s of internet, something like that. Because the way AI is supposed to be used is to be used as a copilot, not as a vending machine, not as a glorified search engine where you just, oh, well, I need to have a recipe of a pasta recipe, let's say, and you ask ChatGPT to give you a recipe of pasta. That's just no that you could, I mean, you could go to you could Google it, you could go to any search engine, it will give you all the best recipes for pasta, whatever it is. It's beyond that. It's beyond that. It needs to. You need to use it as a copilot, as somebody, as a colleague that you have interaction with, and within that process, it creates a lens, a new vision, a new lens where you become aware of who you are and the reality itself, and you will see that the way you interpret the reality is highly subjective, and very often do not represent what's really going on. Actually, even the decisions that we're making are quite erroneous. Are not really representative of what's really going on out of the world. We kind of not interpret the world in the right way, basically, because we filter it through our beliefs, through the way we were conditioned in the childhood. And that's where AI gives us this ability and removes a lot of the biases. And it's a very powerful state to be in. So I think that's it for today. Now, if you have any comments, questions, don't hesitate to leave them in the comments section. Now, I will continue every evening to provide you more and more of information about the AI economy, what it will look like, and how you could prepare, what decisions you could make. The idea is to give you a little bit more clarity about what's going to happen, because I'm sick of this this hyper hype of AI, which whatever whatever company is trying to sell, that idea that it's going to I don't know, it's going to change the whole world within a couple of months, which is not the case. It will take years, the adoption of AI, or they will basically throw cases of of elimination of jobs, where all the jobs will be eliminated by AI, and we will find ourselves within a couple of years in a, what did they call it, a post-labor economics. There will be no labor. Actually, I will argue that it will be the contrary. There will be not enough people, and I'm not even talking about jobs. There will be not enough people to occupy, just to cover the needs that will come with the AI-based economy. I mean, because it will create new industries. AI will come with new capabilities. Yes, some of the things will be automated. I'm sure of that. But new capabilities means new opportunities. It means new industries, new services, new products. And for all of that, somebody needs to take responsibility, and somebody needs to act, and somebody needs to sell products and services. and it needs to manage, it needs to supervise, it needs to. I mean, whatever automated system you put on a certain foundation, the economy will just go on top of it and offer even more products and services, and all of that will be within the exchange of people, you know. So this is what will happen actually, and it happened before, and this is how our civilization evolved. Each new technology, including AI, um, comes with challenges, and those challenges are addressed by people. That's first. And also, it comes with new capabilities. And each time you gives new capabilities, what happens to people? What happens to people? Do they want less? Do they say, yeah, we have new capability, we don't want nothing anymore? No, no, that's not what happens. Each time you give new capabilities, whatever the industry it is, people want more. Needs, this means that the people's needs evolve. This means that you, you know, new needs means new businesses, needs, you know, those needs to be satisfied, so somebody will make money out of it. And that's where create new sectors, new ecosystems, and everything that goes with. Just see what happens with the internet. I mean, um, I mean, I'm sure you could find articles. I even find a recording from the. I thought, you know, I found a recording on the web, and I thought this, you know, the recording itself was, you know, recent. And actually, then I, I look at the date. It was from the 1960s. It was, they were talking about, you know, how, you know, that the, you know, in the 1960s there was the automation of automakers, basically, of the car manufacturing facilities. And they were saying that, you know, there will be so much automated, and there will be no more jobs. Well, actually, what happens? Yeah, I mean, all those car factories, most of them are highly automated, but, you know, society evolved. I mean, we have new industries, we have new systems in place, uh, and yeah, there's a need for people in every sectors. So, and that's the same that will happen with AI. We're gonna evolve. We're gonna create new industries. We're gonna create new sectors. Some of it will be automated, other will not be. And this is something that we're gonna discover together in the upcoming streams. What will be the opportunities? Because there's so much to um, unpack when it comes to AI, when it comes to new jobs that will going to be created. It's just amazing how much, you know, opportunities there will be in the future. So on that, thanks for watching. Again, questions, comment, leave them in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe. It's always a pleasure to have you here every evening. As I said, I'll be here every evening around 6 p.m., probably 7 p.m. It's gonna depend on my schedule. And again, I'll see you next.